Hi, in today's video we are going to study unsupervised learning method that is called as clustering. Basically, unsupervised learning will require unlabeled data or a data for which inputs are given but outputs are not described, and using an algorithm we are going to find the patterns or we have to find out the groups. Say for example, set of emails or set of search results according to some criteria. We can do something called as customer shopping pattern recognition. We can identify customers either by their geographic location or by their demographics. What are the patterns of buying habits of a customers? All these can be identified with the help of unsupervised learning and the method specially called as clustering. Then we can find out the regions in an image. Say for example, one image is shown and within that image I have to identify one particular object, like whether there is a tree or there is a t-shirt or whether there's a special kind of object or a road or a car or a bike. Like that we have to identify the sections or the regions of an image. We do this by using clustering method of unsupervised learning. Remember, we had two methods in unsupervised learning: association rule mining and clustering. This clustering is useful when we do not know for what we are actually looking for into a particular data set. So from a given set of data which is unlabeled, we are here aim is to find out some useful patterns or groups or clusters. So let us move ahead. Now here I'm going to discuss some of the challenges of clustering. Say for example, we are given some set of data and we are nothing have any idea regarding to this data, and we are here to identify the patterns or the group or clusters given in given data set. So either we can find out two different clusters which are grouping set of data items, or within the same data set I can find out three different clusters which can group similar kind of objects, or I can find out the number of clusters which is equal to 4, which can divide or which can find out four different groupings of customers. So here one of the challenge of clustering is to find out the how many number of clusters we are actually looking for. So if computer is not told about that, then we are be able to find out different kind of clusters over the different kind of machines. So one of the algorithm which can perform clustering is k-means. In k-means clustering, input are the data set over which we are intending to find out the clusters, and another input that is required is to number of clusters that we would like to perform or we would like to form. So there are two inputs to this k-means clustering. Basically, clustering algorithms are divided into three categories known as partitioning clustering, hierarchical, and density-based clustering. Over which, within partitioning, we have two different clusters such as k-means and Medoid's algorithm. In hierarchical clustering, we have something called as device and agglomerative algorithm, which is given by Diana, and density-based clustering is given by an algorithm DBSCAN. So let us start with k-means clustering. But before that, let me give you an idea of clustering. But what basically it does. Say for example, this is an image, and if I would like to do image segmentation and I would like to find out what are the objects such as cloud or hills or river. So this can be identified by regioning an image by drawing an outline towards that object, and that can be done with the help of clustering. It will identify all the objects or all the pixels which belongs to or represents the river. So continuous set of region which represents river is being identified or segmented by this clustering algorithm. Likewise, over this image, you can see there is a gene data. Gene of different species is being given over here, and here a system is going to identify a set of all those species which belongs to same region or a same grouping. Say for example, a monkey and humans can be put into a single region, and likewise cats like tiger or household cats, all these can be put inside a single region. So all these can be done by grouping the genes which are given for different species of a particular animal or human being. So this is also an example of clustering which can be used for. Let us quickly start with first partitioning algorithm, which is k-means clustering. So what does basically k-means clustering do is that we are given a set of n objects. So consider these are the n objects, and within that we also require another input, that is the number of partitions or clusters that we would like to perform. So if input is given these gray dots, not these red, green and blue dots, only consider that your input data set is n objects which are represented by these gray dots. Along with this, we are given k number of clusters as an input. So here in this example, k is equal to 3. That means we would like to have 3 different clusters. So here we will try to find out the clusters such that intra-cluster similarities will be high and inter-cluster similarities will be low, or I would say dissimilarity would be high. We would mark 3 different random points over our image because k is equal to 3 in this case. So these 3 points are marked with red, green and blue dot, and we will perform something called as Voronoi diagram. Now, what do we mean by Voronoi diagram? Voronoi diagram is nothing but an area covered by a specific mean. So, for example, first mean is this red dot. I will calculate an area around it which is nearer to it. And likewise for green dot, I will calculate the nearby area and mark that diagram or area with its respective color green, and for blue respectively I will mark down the third area which is near to this green, this blue dot. And whatever the data set samples that falls into a particular region will be associated or assigned to a particular mean. Say for example, this gray first gray data set is belonging or near to this red dot, so it will be belonging to first cluster of red. And likewise these many data points are near to or falling into same area of green, then they are marked with green. And this is the blue data sample following to this blue mean, then they are sent to this mean. Now after this particular assignment of data set, the next step is to readjust or recalculate the mean. Now recalculation of mean is performed with the help of set of data set that belongs to a particular cluster. Now for this particular red cluster, there is only one sample and the mean of the sample will be the data point itself. So our red sample or red mean is now shifted to the data point itself. Likewise, this green mean is calculated with the help of new samples which are falling into its region. So using these many 6 green points, we are recalculating mean. So the new data point or new center or the new mean of the green region will be shifted slightly from its previous position. And same will be repeated for blue. So using these 5 blue samples, we are recalculating mean. So it is being slightly shifted from its previous location. And we will continue this process. We will again find out the nearby region with the help of Voronoi diagram. We will mark those regions and will reassign data points to its nearest mean. And again we will recalculate their mean, and the process will continue unless and until no new mean or no shifting in the center of the mean of any of the cluster is being found. So that is the simplest kind of algorithm. We specify k and we specify the number of clusters along with the data set, and we consider objects which are defined by its numeric attributes, and we can calculate the distance, and according to that we assign those data sets to distance. Now using this image, you can see that Voronoi diagram is keep on shifting, and you observe carefully the center of this diagram which is being represented by here. As you can see, these are the centers which are represented by this small plus sign. Okay, so they keep on changing unless and until their mean is shifted from previous location to next location. So algorithm is very simple. When we are initializing, we are picking up some k value, that how many clusters we are intending to find out, and along with some data points over which we have to find out the clusters. And we have to keep on repeating the steps. First step is to assign the data points to the closest cluster center, which is called as mean of a cluster. And we change the cluster center, which is nothing but mean of each cluster, by averaging out or finding the mean of data points which are assigned to that particular cluster. We keep on repeating these two steps unless and until there are no 2 points which are assigned, or no new data points which are changing their cluster, or no mean which is shifting its position. At that point we are going to stop. If we are going to perform the same statement, say for example my k is equal to 4, let us start with k is equal to 4 at this stage. Say for example this is the first mean, let us see this is the second, this is the third, and say this one is fourth. Okay, so what will happen? Initially, these points are allocated to this cluster. Now, these points are nearer to this cluster. These points are nearer to this cluster as well as to this. Okay, so these clusters, this will be the larger one. Okay, and this cluster will be here. Now, what will happen? We will recalculate mean. So, mean will be shifted nearer to the point. So, this will be shifted into the center. This mean will be now shifted in between some of the center of this statements, and this mean will be shifted now here, okay, between these set of points, these and this set of points. And for this mean will be now shifted it to its center. So the new position of mean is this one, this one, and this one. Now, as you can see, this orange X is nearer to all these. So, no new assignment of data points to this cluster is being done. Now, using this particular point, these points are quite far as compared to this one. Okay, so the distance is lesser one. So, we will assign all these set of clusters to this one. Now, as you can see, this is the new one, and we will be assigned to this particular cluster, and this mean will be assigned into this particular cluster. Again, we will readjust and the process will continue, and at the end we will get clusters like this one cluster with this center, another cluster with another center, third cluster with third center, and fourth cluster with fourth center. And is this is the output that we get at the end of precision. Now, as you can see here, these are the some green samples, and here we are given k is equal to 2. That means we are here expected to find out two different clusters. So two random means x green, x blue, and red are marked initially. Now, first step is to assign the nearest or closest data points to each mean. So, the closest data points to red are marked with red, and closest data points to blue cross are marked with blue. So, along with this kind of assignment, we will recalculate mean. Now, as you know, these data points, now these red data points we will have assigned, or we will find new mean which is closer to these data points. So in next step we are going to recalculate their mean. So recalculating mean is calculated. Again we will reassign some data. So as you can see now these red points are more closer to this blue points as compared to this red mean older. So the assignment will be now changed. We will repeat these steps. Okay, so reassignment is calculated. We will recalculate mean, reassignment the data points. Now the data points are not going to change their position or cluster, and neither the mean is going to change. So everything is now constant. That means we have find out two different clusters. Now here we have calculated the assignment of a data point to a nearest mean with the help of something called as distance formula. Now you know there are different distance formulas such as Euclidean, Manhattan, Minkowski. By default we always go with Euclidean distance, which is given as square root of summation xi minus yi whole square. So that is Euclidean distance. In some other case or a special case, you can either go with Minkowski or Manhattan. That is perfectly okay. Now, what is the clarity or goodness of a particular cluster is being calculated with the help of sum of squared error term. Now, sum of squared error term is nothing but given by summation from 1 to k for all k clusters, all data points which belongs to a particular cluster Ci, the distance between data point center and its mean. And that is being given as distance from cluster center Ci and a data point x. The distance square and summation of for all the clusters is given by sum of squared error term. So basically k-means clustering algorithm selects k number of objects at random and set those k objects as a centroid of or a center of gravity of a cluster. Then for each remaining object, those set a data set to its closest centroid and we form those closest objects as a form of a cluster. Now centroid is recalculated or I would say they are getting updated by calculating the mean value of a given cluster and this assignment is updated unless and until it reaches to some stopping criteria. Stopping criteria can be either number of iteration or there are no change in any of the centroid or no new assignment to any of the new cluster. So using any of these criteria or using all these criteria, we can find out the clusters. So K-means clustering has one of the good advantage that it always guarantees to convert to a some finite number of iteration. That means we can guarantee that this algorithm can stop or can continue only unless and until some condition is reached. So the complexity of k-means algorithm is k into n, where k is nothing but the number of clusters that we are expecting a data set to have into n, which is nothing but number of data set points that we have in our data set. So any change in a cluster to average out the point is nothing but big O of n. Now, how segmentation is worked with the help of k-means can be understood with the help of two different images. If we have k is equal to 2, we will be only identifying two different regions. Say for example, first region is being represented by the darker area and the second region is represented by the lighter area. So as you can see, using original image when k is equal to 2, we are only able to get some X-ray kind of images. If we increase k is equal to 3, we would be able to identify three different kind of regions with three different category of colors, such as yellow, blue and grey. And if we keep on increasing k, such as for example, k value is 10, we will be able to identify 10 different region with the 10 different intensity of a color. And hence, if we keep on increasing k, some data which is being which we have intent to find a pattern might go into vanish. So here the only question is to finding out the value of k. What will be the value of k? Should it be minimum such as 2 or should be larger as compared to the data points like it should be k is equal to 100 or 200 or what it should be. So there are two different methods using which we can find out the value of k in clustering is that first one rule of thumb, that is square root of n by 2, where n is nothing but number of data points in a data set and k is nothing but a number of clusters. So this will only work when we have a smallest kind of data set, say for example up to 100 or thousands of data points in a data set. If data points are more than this or there are larger number of data points, then we always go with an elbow method. Now, what is an elbow method? Elbow method we uses two different measures. One is called homogeneity and second one is heterogeneity. Homogeneity refers to the similarities between intercluster data points. Say for example, there are n points which belongs to same cluster. The similarity between these points should be as maximum as possible. And if there are two data points which belongs to two different cluster, the dissimilarity should be maximum, or I would say similarity should be the minimum between the two. That is called as heterogeneity. So let us see how this homogeneity and heterogeneity work with respect to K, and how to make this elbow diagram and pick up the ideal value of K. So say for example, we are given some data points, and we set value of K as is equal to 1. That means we would like to have only one cluster. All these data points will belong to a same cluster. Now, if we set value of K is equal to 2, now some nearest data points will be clubbed inside one cluster. So these blue are the one cluster, and these red ones data samples are another cluster. They can be treated. And likewise, we will calculate, or we will set up value of K is equal to 3 and look at how our samples are distributed, and we will be able to get three different clusters of color red, green and yellow respectively. If we have four clusters, then we have first cluster this way, this will be our second cluster, this will be our third cluster, and this will be our fourth cluster. If K is equal to 5, then we will have clustering like this: first cluster, second one, third one, fourth and the fifth one. And if we still increase value of K, we will have different clusters like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And we can experiment different values of K likewise. Now, what is this elbow method and how do we do that, or how do we perform ideal value of K? So we will find out the longest distance between 2 points which belongs to same cluster. Now, as you can see in this first diagram, this is only one cluster. So we are going to find out the farthest point. Okay. So I can also find out these distance between these 2 points because they are also belongs to the same cluster, but I want the maximum distance between any 2 points. So these are the 2 points which gives me the maximum distance of a same cluster. Okay, so this is the one of the height. Say, let me call this as D1. Okay, when there are two clusters, I can find out the farthest distance between first cluster and the farthest distance in a second cluster. But as you can see, in a second cluster, I get the maximum distance. So I would mark it as D2. Likewise, in third cluster, I will have this as the maximum distance, this as the maximum distance, and this as the maximum distance. Out of which, this is the largest distance, I will call it as D3. Likewise, I will find it for 4 cluster, 5 cluster, and 6 cluster respectively. And I will project these heights in a graph. So over the x-axis, I have a number of clusters. Now, as you can see, number of clusters are ranging from 1, 2 and going up to 6. So we have 6 points over an x-axis, and the largest distance that we get, we are going to put that distance, or sorry, it is actually distance, not a diameter. So it is wrongly written. So over we are projecting this distance over y-axis. Now as you can see, the largest distance is at cluster 1. So this line represents equals to the length of this line. Okay, now second time this line is representing the distance up to this particular line. So this is the line for 3, this is the line for 4 and so on up to 6. Now we will make a graph or a line graph representing this diagram. So this point at K is equal to 3, or a number of cluster equal to 3, is an elbow point from where we are taking the turn. Okay, so distance which are having the very large between the cluster within a cluster is now ranging to very less at this elbow point, and this elbow is giving us the ideal value of K. Okay, so the elbow point can be represented, or to find out the homogeneity within the group or heterogeneity within the group. So I can be able to identify this kind of elbow point, or I would be plotting a graph of this kind of point. So in both case, whatever your elbow point is, that will be giving us the ideal value of K. Okay, so this is how we pick up the value of K in K-means. What can go wrong is something called as a local optimum point. Okay, now say for example, if we put K is equal to 2, then system will give you two clusters, even though your data points must belongs to one cluster by ideally. Okay, so the value of k that you are choosing has to be created or has to be picked up very carefully. Now if data point is this kind of, and if you give k is equals to 1, that means only one need, then even though you can see there are two different clusters, system will give you an output that there will be only one cluster. So that is the only challenge within K-means clustering. Thank you everyone for watching this video. This is Munira Topia signing out.